Today I'm going to show you how to make a quick circle skirt. The fabric I'm using is actually a kind of a polka dotty lace, which is going to be nice because I don't have to hem it. Yay! Alright, the first thing you want to do is you want to cut out a giant circle, and then you cut out another circle in the center. So for my giant circle, I actually used an exercise hula hoop, one of these. You can't quite see that it's a circle, but anyway, it's one of those giant exercise hoops. You could also use, of course, just the pencil and string, where you hold a string and then you go around with a pencil and mark, whatever. But you need a big circle, and then your smaller circle, find something that's about 10 inches wide, probably like a bowl. So then you have your two circles cut. And then you just need a waistband. Now for the waistband, you're going to cut a strip of fabric that needs to be long enough to go all the way around your 10-inch hole. And the width on this is going to be, well, in order to figure that out, you need to take your elastic, and you need to be able to go around your elastic, plus have enough for seam allowance. And maybe a little bit extra for just so you can squish this in and out. So my elastic was 1 inch, so I actually cut this 3 inches because I have an inch on the front, inch on the back, and then a 1/2 inch seam allowance. The elastic you want to buy, you see how this has lines going up and down? That's called waistband elastic, and it's a special elastic with lines, and it keeps it from crumpling or squishing. So spend a little bit extra and get waistband elastic. And if it's not labeled, you look for these ridges. Okay. Now what we're going to do, that we have everything ready to go, we are going to pin our waistband to our circle skirt. Trying to find pins. There's one. Now, to figure out what's the top and the back of my lace. You know, the rule of thumb is if you can't tell, it doesn't matter. Alright, so putting right sides together, if you can figure out which side's right. Starting with an end piece. Fold a little bit over. Kind of hard to see black on black. Fold a little bit over. Fold it in half. And then pin it. And you're going to pin that all the way around. And this is, I'm on the inside of my skirt on the small hole. I'm going to pin this all the way around just like that. So then I would just work my way all the way around. Okay, I've gone all the way around my opening and pinned my lining, or my waistband. I'm now back to the beginning. So I can trim this off. I've got some extra here, so I'm going to trim it off. My old part ends here, so I want this to end right before that one, so I'm going to do the same thing with my extra. Flip it to the inside, lay it down, and then I've got them, two edges will meet up right there. Then that. And now I'm going to sew it. So I'm simply going to put it in my machine, and I'm going to do, I'm going to go a little less than 1/2 inch, and go all the way around. Okay, we've got the casing sewn on to the top edge of our skirt. We find our opening, and we're going to run our elastic through. And I just like to put a big safety pin on it, and then we can run it all the way around. And then we need to do a fitting and see just how tight the elastic needs to be. And so I have to go find the person who this is for and fit it to them after I pull my elastic all the way through. Alright, I pinned it on my daughter, or I tried it on my daughter, pinned it to where I thought it would be, and now I'm going to pull this out so I can work with it. So get it out away. Oops, that was supposed to be like that. And then you cut it down, obviously. You just want about 1 inch of overlap. I've already trimmed it. Pull that so you have something to work with. Then I'm going to stick it in my machine. I'm just going to stitch, probably maybe go around and maybe through the middle a couple times. Just stitch it together. Okay, we've stitched that together. Now we just work it back into the skirt. And the next thing, I would just take a needle and thread after you get them together and just kind of stitch those two together, and then kind of spread your gathers so it's nice and even. Yeah, a clump right there. So just sort of work them around until it's a little bit more even. Sometimes just by going like this will even out a little bit. And the last step that you would have to do on a normal skirt would be to do a hem. Now I did just hem this skirt, which is actually the lining for this. The idea with this was that you could wear it over a solid color, like a black, and then later if we want to layer it over like a lighter color, we could also do that too. So I did the skirt separate. This was actually a skirt I already had, but it was longer. So anyway, I did hem this by hand, and I shot a video of how to hem this. So I'll attach that video with the rest of it. So that's how you make a little circle skirt. Thanks for watching. Okay, our fabric is lace, so I'm not going to hem it, but I'm going to show you how to hem it on this other piece of fabric though. There's of course lots of ways you could hem this, but because it's a nice curved edge, we need to make a very small hem, and I'm going to hand stitch it. You could try to roll it up, press it, roll it up and press it, and then machine stitch it. It's going to be a little tricky though, because the inside edge of a curve is always shorter than the outside edge, so it can get a little tricky. I'm actually going to hand stitch it, and I'm going to show you the stitch I'm going to use. First you fold it up a little bit, and then I'm going to take, I think this is called a ladder stitch. I'm using white thread so you can see it. I take a stitch there, and I go directly over to my edge, take a stitch there. So I'm kind of doing a stitch at the top, and a stitch at the bottom. And think of these as rungs on a ladder. They go back and forth, back and forth. Now you're thinking, it doesn't look very good. Just wait and I'll show you the trick. Okay, you get a couple of those in, and you give it a nice firm tug. You see that? It just rolled it right on in. And on this side you're just going to have a very minuscule roll of stitches. You can see them because they're white, but if I use black thread they'd be pretty much invisible. And of course you'd also want to press it. Let me show you one more time. Right, left, right, left, tug. That's going to give me just a beautiful hem.